that good stuff, you know. Well, I got in my hot little hand this thing that I use as my fake paper when I'm quote reading the news. Of course, it's totally spontaneous, but I just noticed because this is a, you know, a little, well, it's scrap paper now, but it's a test print I did for a run I was doing of the Mary Jane mugs, you know. And I just realized that on that mug, I just unified the Coyote world and the Mary Jane world into oneness, and now we're both the gateway to paradise. And babies, you better get one of these mugs. That's the news, man alive. This has got some strong energy in it. It's heavy duty, man. I mean, this stuff is like revolutionary. So here's the recipe. You know, they've got this, well, I think it's Wild Turkey's got this bourbon liqueur that's like, you know, called honey or whiskey or something like that, you know, and wow. You put a little of that in the bottom of your cup and this righteous little Mary Jane mug, and then you put a little coffee in on top of that, you know, and you slurp a little of that and you toke a little of some righteous MJ, and babies, you know everything is just right. In this reality, in this galaxy, and you're the stars, and everything's just peaceful and wonderful and beautiful. I'll never forget the time, and I gotta admit, babies, I was under the influence of some powerful narcotics, man. But they just helped me drop the veil, you know, and I could see plainly. Well, I was also walking the edge again, you know, so I was seeing through the veils anyway, but this just magnified it greatly, you know. And I'll never forget the time I just saw, you know, in the sky, the representation of all of creation. It was all gold and glittery and was all in motion. And it was more crowded than the 405 freeway on a Friday afternoon, man. I mean, it was... Everywhere there was life, and it was all in motion. There was angels, and there was spaceships, and there was just cosmic beings of every kind of life imaginable, moving in this cosmic flow, this uniform direction. And it was in that moment complete silence, you know, and everything was just radiant love, just radiant life, and just so happy to be moving and flowing in this great big old wave of love that we are. It was just an awesome and an amazing experience, an awakening to the true reality of our paradise, you know. And that began for me over 20 years ago when I experienced that, you know. Wow. Talk about a free sample that really stayed with you. Talk about a moment that lives forever. There's one that does, you know. We unraveled back there in this little tiny little remote mountain ranch, back in the middle of nowhere, you know, on the gateway to California, coming out of Oregon, basically, but nobody goes there anymore because they forgot that's the trail. They're way over east of that now with I-5, you see. So I'm out there in the middle of God's green nowhere, man, you know, and just living with the bears and the coyotes and the wolves and the eagles and everything else. They have cougars, and, you know, I had a few head of stock, and, you know, bunch of hayfield, and, you know, a dam in the creek and a big old ditch along the mountainside leading to a flume that led to a sprinkler irrigation from a hayfield there. And had a little house perched up on a knoll, you know, an old L-shaped, it's a pretty large house. It's like 5,000 square feet or so. It had 5 bedrooms and a parlor upstairs and a bunch of closets and stuff. Downstairs it had a big old living room and two bedrooms plus a big old den and dining and kitchen area. And, you know, it was just like, but we didn't have anything but room, you know. There was no real facilities because there was no electricity, and, you know, the running water came out of that ditch, so you ain't going to drink that, even though it is creek water, because it runs along that mountainside. Gets a little murky and mossy because it doesn't have much of a fall there, you know. And so you don't really, you know, you shower in it sometimes, but in the summer you don't even bother with that because the hayfield takes all the water anyway, and there's none to spare. So you just go down the creek and, you know, do your bathing down there. You always use biodegradable stuff, you know, organic and natural as can be, so you ain't polluting up these beautiful clear mountain streams. And let me tell you, you don't stay in those too long, man. 38 degrees year round. You know, just getting in them, you got to just splash in, you know, dive in, because if you try to walk in, it'll throw you right back out. You'll freeze in your tracks, you know. So you just, on a hot day, you never do it on a cold day, you'll die. For sure. But on a hot day, man, you go dive in that sucker, man. And wow, it's so refreshing, especially if you've been out there bucking hay bales all morning, you know. And like I have like 1,800 bales pick up on my first crop, you know. And it's all mostly hand labor, taking it out of the field, putting it in the stack, you know. Wow, it's a lot of work. And then you got to keep the cows out of it, etc. Hell of a magical life. So that's kind of a representation of what was there and what magical power there was. But I really do think back in those days that we resolved all of humanity's history right there in that funny little remote place. Just me and the spirit angels and the guides and eagles and so forth that came, you know. It was like, oh, what an amazing and incredible experience. What an amazing thing to live to see, you know, that realities began to merge. Back in that time, man, the two became unified. As I came to my death moment, I found life again, you know, and boy, I went through a very similar thing yesterday here, right here on this old radio show as we were morphing on through it. I felt that death return to me again. But this time it was more like a hatching out. It felt like a real death where we're departing the body, only it didn't depart the body. We were doing it inside the body, inside of this little meat carcass, as we call. Oh, just wait till you see us de-densified. Oh my God, babies, we're heading to some good places. Hang on. But it's just beautiful, you know. I transformed in that moment, you know, and I shed a really thick and heavy, scaly skin I'd had on a part of me inside for a long, long time. And I began to breathe again, boy. And, you know, as I say all the time, each new breath is a new beginning. But, boy, I sure felt it in that one. Let me tell you, that was an amazing breath to take. So I just wanted you to know you weren't alone in your experiencing of it, that we were all going through it together. And I hope I adequately described it, gave it the, you know, the coaching along, the little grease on the wheels, the lubrication that it needed to get it into a happening and advancing gear and keep it in motion, babies. In other words, the cosmic expansion lives because we're here to give. And we radiate love from 9,000 feet high, and so do you, babies. You're right here with me, too, babies. We're all unified together. We're the ancient and the now, all together, and everything in between, and all of the future as well. Right here in this unified junction of love we call the spaceship love. Here on the Mother Earth, our beloved Gaia. Yes, indeedy, the heart of creation, darlings, and we are her children, her babies. And she holds us to her breast and nurtures us just right, man. She loves us like dynamite, you know. I mean, you know, but it's not explosive. It comes nice and softly and sweetly, and sometimes slowly and exquisitely, too, so we can enjoy every moment we're alive. And feel every bit of it because she feels it right along with you. Whether you be on the other side of the universe or whatever, she's there within experiencing that experience with you because she is you. You're an extension of her love into creation. Each and every one of us, the child of the mother of love that began it all. And here's to her high honor in our dear heart for the sweetness of her loving soul expressions that have become what humanity is right now. Divine darling, we love you. You're unified in our heart forever and ever, and we acknowledge your presence there. We bring you back to life, and we are sorry we ever thought you to be gone anywhere. Blessings, baby, and welcome back. How's that for a heart attack? The mother of love, babies. Right there inside. You know, we had her hidden away for a long time. But only out of disrespect could we learn to respect. And, you know, we're genuinely, well, I don't feel the grief that I once did. You know, I used to grieve for my mama so greatly. You know, my physical mama here in this life for what she had to endure, and my mama in the greater sense of the earth. Since I was a child, I felt this way. And I felt a deep and divine union and connection with this Mother Earth, and I always have. And I probably always will because I feel like we're one, that the earth which surrounds us and fills us and provides for us and nurtures us through is also what we are. I mean, she and I, you and I, all of us, you know, the children of love, of the children of the mother's heart of creation, then, of her earth and sky, you know, her children. And beautifully and poetically so, you know. And we return now to that mothering source. We return to that awareness. See, just like I did on this little coffee mug where we inadvertently, you know, stumble buttedly so, but beautifully so too, brought together the energies of the divine that seemed ununified before that time, and put our stamp of approval in the earth's reality in a little ceramic mug, which it really is a piece of mud, a little coffee mug made out of ceramics. Well, that's mud, baby. It's just baked real hot, formed into a little shape and baked real hot. Beautiful thing, babies. Earth and sky, organic and etheric. They're not separate, you know. We've just densified ourselves to such a point, taken on such great heaviness, and burdened ourselves down so deeply that we felt separate from life, from this mother of love. But the coyote nature says we never really are ever separate from love, else there is not creation. So it was a divine disharmony that we created in some way. We call it illusion, but I call it more like a divine dream. We extended our presence into an unreality to feel the reality that we already lived in. Understand, you know, when you've just been nothing but divine love and lived in purity, I mean, forever and ever and ever, well, I mean, you can't really feel the ripeness in that. You can't really appreciate that because that's what you've always been, always will be. And it's like, oh, man, anybody want to play poker, strip poker? You know, you get kind of itchy. And pretty soon you start to laugh at yourself when you realize, well, it's time to discreate a little creation and raise a little mayhem here. And let's see what we can do with a few journeys and adventures. And I know it's going to probably kill us, but damn. I mean, it beats hell out of sitting on a toadstool and eating flies, you know. Well, guess what? We went all the way full circle, and we wound up back on the toadstool zapping flies. And we're loving it, too. I mean, you know, the divine sun, the divine union of water and earth and organic growth and the spirit heart, the living love, the light of the sun that lives in all of it, that ignites it. That's the ignition of life. That's the seed in the mother. That's the masculine in the mother, is that divine sun, S-U-N. See how it's represented in this organic earth is a molten core at the center of the earth. Well, what the hell do you think that is? That's another sun. And you don't believe in an inner earth? Well, son of a gun. Neither do I. I don't think they're separate. I don't think there is any separation between the worlds. I don't believe any of that shit. You know, I only see paradise wherever I look, wherever I feel. Even when my bank account's almost down to zero. Oh, darlings, we live in such a charmed and natural and ever-present love. You know, that's the field that fills us and surrounds us. That's the reality of our truthful presence of person right here in this moment of time. Wherever we are, whatever we be doing, besides listening to this old radio show here and let the old man rap your roll, oh, hell yeah, and soothe your soul. Because we've taken the journey and we've made it all the way through. And those times that we're talking about there in that old Rancho Deluxe. Hey, you can read about a little of it in my book, The Atomic Bum by Coyote Bear. It's available everywhere, basically Amazon, but it's all over the place too, so you'll find it somewhere, man. The Atomic Bum, like your backside, the thing you're sitting on right now, or the guy that comes knocking on your door and says, hey, I just came off of that freight train over there and I wondered if you had a little food I could eat. I'm no hungry, you know. That's a hobo. I mean, I know you don't see him anymore, but that's what bum meant back in those days. The Atomic Bum. A-T-O-M-I-C. Just like bomb, but only it's not a bomb, it's a bum. Check it out. So back in those magical times, you see, I was really challenged in life, and I'd come to this wearing down point, and then this illness had come, and it was taking me down, but I lived in paradise, man. I was surrounded by it. It's a primitive life, you know, but charmed. Just charmed in its primitivity. I mean, just perfect. It was, God, I lived, I mean, money couldn't buy what I had there, you know, it just couldn't. And the graciousness of, out of the harshness of nature came the graciousness of life. And, I adventured all over these mountains as I got better and I could move forward and, communed with saints and angels from throughout the generations. I'll never forget, one time when that Christed being came, and I was like, wow, where did you come from? I don't know. I was kind of allergic to that conception because of the religious stuff and all the absurdity they practiced in that name and so forth. But here was a real living entity, an energy, a personal being that, yes, had been human, still was, basically. And coming forward to speak, and commune with, and then I realized, as these connections proceeded, the unity, the oneness, geez, us, each and every one of us, together, united. You see, we tend to put others on pedestals and say, oh God, they made it, we'll never get there, because we feel separate from them. But that's what I was beginning to experience there by communing with all these saints and angels and ancestors and so forth. And yeah, a few ETs and shit too. Yeah, we got to give them a little bit of presence here. I tease them a lot, man, because they overstate their case pretty severely. And you just have to remember, it's a divine illusion, the whole thing. So it's a coyote game we're playing, and it's okay. Sometimes I like to ruffle my feathers and just a little bit, just for fun, just because I, don't get to do it that often anymore. It's getting all far too settled and peaceful here. Getting back to that toadstool again, baby. Oh, it was a lily pad. Really, we were frogs, man. That's where the kiss the frog prince idea came from. Because in reality, the prince is a frog, man. Zap and fly as they fly by, man. Well, so do we, babies. I mean, the flies we get are the flies of love, and each one of them is a step, a journey, and enlightenment. Which means returning to our natural intelligence. It doesn't mean being some swami mommy guru, So get that idea out of your head right now, man. Shit. You're a gateway, yes, a vessel of love, you darn tootin' baby. And you're here to do the rootin' tootin' rodeo, too, and you've done it already. So, baby, now all you got to do is learn to go steady with Mother Earth and all the life that is. We're kind of like dating now, We're kind of like getting reacquainted because we've felt this separation forever, to the point where there was great enmity between us inside of ourselves, the fractured reality, the split personality. Schizoid, hell, every human was schizoid. That was the norm, not the unusual. The unusual is anybody ever stepped outside of it and said, hey, what the hell is going on here? And started to look in another way, another direction, you see. And of course, that always upset the apple cart. That's where the persecution all came from. Don't mess with our reality. We created it this way. We want to keep it this way, We got comfort in our pain. We got bliss in our suffering, man. Leave us the fuck alone. Don't go upsetting our paradigm, man. We're happy. We're proud of our suffering. Look how good we suffer, Some of us even beat ourselves on the back, etc. I mean, Jesus Christ, like we don't have enough already. Forgive me. I'm using a patently absurd to illustrate a point. You see what I mean, Jelly Bean? Ooh, babies, we're just trying to be gracious and, most bodacious. But talking about the way it's been, babies, we just love it with a grin. Because, man, I'm glad we don't got to live there anymore, The unawakened shit is melting away, man. Thank goodness, And where does it melt away from? Inside of our little heart. Right here, right now, because, we got a divine coffee mug, or thought we would. I mean, you felt it one way or the other. So it has an organic presence, You don't have to go get one right now. Hell, wait until you feel like it for sure. Man, it's just like buying an insurance policy. You don't do it unless, the government forces you to. And even then you look at the government and say, can you really make me do this, or can I get away without it? Is this one of your little games, The government's always messing with you. They make you lie so they can tell you the truth, And then they tell you a lie so you won't ever recognize the truth, etc., etc., etc. You know, it kind of reminds you of the carnival and the shell game. You know, which one's it under now? You dumb SOB. You know, give me another $100. You're gonna win 10 million. You know, which one's it under now? Oh, you're so gifted and so bright. Ooh, that was the old dog and pony show, wasn't it, baby? But see, that's what brings forward the mystical. We don't have the old dog and pony show. We don't know which way to go. We got clear direction now, and it's away from there. It's the undoing of what's been done to us through us, because we are the heart baby loves of creation, babies. And we're starting to realize that now and really settle back into the heart and learn how we cure everything inside of ourselves and quite naturally then in the rest of this reality. Change our view and perspective, and recognize the inner earth is us and paradise exists and we are there, and the buffaloes still roam and everybody's happy. And nobody's pissed off at anyone. They don't even know what that is anymore. You know, we've all settled down to a boring old place where we just sit on a lily. No way, babies. We're the active and moving creators and creation in motion. Always in pursuit of the ultimate experience and the living expression of love. A journey that's never ending, that's always beginning. Looking for the ultimate high? Yes. And way beyond that. The ultimate feeling. The ultimate growing experience. The fulfillment in cosmic terms of all that is. How far can we stretch and expand and grow with this love? How great can it be? How gracious throughout? How beautiful and poetic, you know? How content within itself, just to exist and be, and to experience its creation in these many different levels, in these many different ways, you know? Expressed, you know, right now astronomically, but it moves way beyond that. It's cosmic. It's many, many, many dimensions. But they all meld. It's a singular living presence in all of this. The creation that reflects itself throughout like the house of mirrors. 30 billion times it does this. And it's all the same projection. It comes from one place, right where you're standing. That's what you see, and that's what you live. You live then forever in this house of mirrors, which is the hugeness of life itself. The journey in its living form of expression. Now that steady horse of the heart we ride, become all of this, which is real and living, blissfully content and quite happily so, and expanding ever presently its beautiful experience into even more forms of creation, and different dynamics and different ways of playing it, man. We've added a smoothness, a uniformity, the feeling that seemed to be lacking there before. Now it's in all forms of living expression because we accept our presence in all of that creation and we feel it. Again, the divine presence. It's not something you could ever kill. There's great symbolism in that. Though we've tried again and again and again to kill it. Many times over. Talk about self-destructive. That's what humanity has been. Always trying to destroy itself. Don't remind us of our beautiful presence. Stay away. Let us live this dark old life. It's gritty. It's shitty. We love it. You know, like, wow. Eating it up, are you? Well, okay, I'll come back another day. Let's try it another way. Let's see what happens. When you're ready, I'm available, baby. I'm your brother. I'm your mother. I'm your dad. I'm really looking like a granddad now. I'm getting old and haggardy and shit, you know, and kind of wasting away into the new reality. Yes, indeed, babies. You know, none of that old age shit for me. You know, I lived it old enough already. I got to 22. That's what I do. I stopped there, and I never wanted to get any older because that was just such a premier year. And I think it's 22 this year, too, man, for all of us, you know. Go back to living life when it's an adventure and it's really beautiful and you're just starting out, but you're getting it. You got the grit. You got a little bit of the know-how going on now, you know. You're starting to catch on and remember how it is to be a buckaroo or a buckarooette, as the case may be, babies, you know, because we're both anyway. inside of ourselves is the divine cosmic awareness joining completely. You know, I mean, talk about making love with everything that is and being in love with everything that is, because it springs forth from where you're making love. That's right there. I think that's a little raven energy sneaking in there. I feel that energy out there. She's being mischievous today and messing with the old coyote. Well, that's okay. We love the raven anyway, don't we? Every way. We just like we love you, man. It's cosmic, baby. It's bigger than life. But is life getting as big as it can get, you know? And it just keeps getting bigger all the time. And more bodacious, too. I love that word, bodacious. Man, I forget where it came from, but it's beautiful. And no, it wasn't Jackie Gleason and Smokey and the Bandit, because I was saying bodacious when I was a kid. So, yeah. Oh, the child doth arise. Just remember, the little punk's innocent, man. You can't beat on. Oh, the tyranny of the old illusion, man. Thank God it's over, babies. You know, life can be just such a gracious place to be in. I mean, just so perfectly peaceful. It's just like that moment in time where I experienced the divine and everything moving in harmony and constant motion, no collision, everything just happy. I mean, you could, the love, peaceful love is permeating the atmosphere. Well, that's what we're feeling here and now. I brought it from that moment to this moment and bring it forward in real life once again so it can reincarnate itself in the presence of everyone. That's why we experience some things early in life, so we can carry the presence of that energy to a point of exposure, let's say, or hatching out is more like the right word. You know, it's like an incubation. It's got to stay inside you for a while, but when you get to a certain point, hatch out, baby. It's just like the butterfly out of the cocoon, eh? Hey, I reckon so, don't you? Hey, God, I'm starting to hanker for a moose head now. I better watch myself. Next thing you know, I'll be going up there having to go curling and playing 5-pin and all that kind of shit, man. I'll be an Ontarian again, man. I kind of I took an extended vacation there under the guise of work and employment back in the 60s. I had a great time there. I spent about 6 months or so running around up there in Ontario, the backwoods and the forewoods and Toronto and just all over the place. Oshawa, Hamilton, St. Thomas. What was that little one down there on the neck down there? Coldberg or something like that. I can't remember, boy. But everywhere I went, it was just like, I felt like a rock star. Because it wasn't just the girls. The girls were just like crazy in love with you. But it was like the people were just vibrant and alive back in that time. And when I was around, they were just so embracing, you know, and gracious with me for the most part. I mean, there was a few horrendous moments. They happened too. You got to have balance, you know. But mostly it was just, wow, what a groove and flow. Everywhere I went, everybody was just happy. We were just partying down, man, having the greatest of times, man. Jeez, it was a good time to be alive, just like now. Oh, this is far better. Because that was a little temporary. This is forever, man. This is life coming back to life. This is reality demonstrating itself to us again and again so that we finally remember and accept and willingly employ that life that we live. You know, we've been hiding from it for so goddamn long. See, that's what that presence indicates. When you persecute those that come to enlighten you, it indicates that you really, really are stretching it too far. It's time to get back home. Screw all the philosophizing. Just be in the love. Just be in the light. No, that's our reality. That's where we've been. We've done it to ourselves a number of times, again and again and again. What do you think war is all about? Trying to kill off the goodness inside, you know what I mean? Seeing how far we can take it. How unearthly cruel and mean can we be? How cold-hearted can it get? How dastardly dangerous can a human being be and still be like a cosmic person? You know? Wow. Did we take that to an extreme? I think we did, babies. And all of us felt that stretching, whether we lived it for one or not, because if one lives it, all live it. So all have been in that stretched out, densified, dark place, you know. Stretched in more light, condensed. Oh, But we lived through it, you know. We realized in the density there was great light. And the density was an unreality. It was just something we'd drawn to ourselves because we didn't know the experience. We needed to know it. Got through it, now we show it. Now we arise. That's the atomic bum going off, man. And it is a bum, you know. It's a bum we sat on and cruised our way through right on top of that magic horse of the heart, man. Cruising our way through all this generational stuff. You see? That's why the horse kept coming back to us, and the doggy too, but they just reminded us of how supportive we really are in this life. How divine and elegant presences will humble themselves greatly to come and be in service with us in this reality. And now we start to realize the cosmic makeup by which things truthfully operate. And we see, yes, that the horse and we are divinely in relationship with one another. It's a cosmic dance that's going on for thousands and thousands of years through the journey of time, since we began as horse and persons. Horse persons and people persons, I guess, for lack of better terminology. And we began that sweet dance of love. You know, and the horse took on our regenerative abilities and said, I'll hold these for you and I'll carry you through. And that's what it did, and that's what it still do, baby. It's the energy of that steady love personified in the gallantry of the elegant equine we call the horse, which has always chosen to live with humanity when it knows it doesn't need to be. It allowed you to corral it and put it away and stable it up and all that kind of stuff because it was divinely entertained by it all. And it knew it was carrying you, and it was there to carry that energy for you, with you, through you. A horse is a horse, of course, unless, of course, it's a horse that's the famous Mr. Heart, Ms. Heart, the one heart, steady, pure heart. See, that's what it reminds us of. That's what it carries. You know, and that is the God. That is the Great Spirit, the heart. The heart that's ever present in each and every one of us. Now do you understand the nature of divine, and can you willingly accept it and be it? Because that's the presence within you right now, right here in this moment of time. We've made the journey full circle, babies. We're home. Welcome back. I love you. All of my love.